our ability to interact with the administration. And on the other hand, right, like it's not perfect. And we take what we can get and we move forward. Okay, so like, and what's, so here's something that really bothers me, right? And I'm not going to identify anybody in particular that did this, but like, it bothers me, right? Our job as faculty is to help you cope with this. And I feel like what I'm hearing from you, the kind of procedural complaints that I'm hearing from some of you, it seems like those are not complaints that faculty have helped you assuage. What they've done is ban them. And that's really irresponsible from us. Like,
I'm sorry, can you list an example of like something that you're
How that happened.
right, so I'm the chair of the faculty senate.
Right.
Right. We had significant faculty involvement in the selection of this committee, in the creation of its mission. The idea for the committee came from faculty senate leadership. I was in the room when it happened. If you guys are concerned about the lack of faculty involvement in the creation of this committee, like I can tell you, faculty were involved.
I think that feeds into a larger conversation that when some of us spoke to Provost Levitt, President Clancy yesterday, we talked a lot about like the philosophy of the university and what we honestly think was a vision. You talked a lot about these varying structures and these things put into place. And we talked a lot about too, Provost Levitt referred to this committee as a quote triumph of faculty governance. The issue that we have is that we don't believe it was a triumph of faculty governance. And before you talk about what you just said, what I want to say is that I have an issue too with that faculty senate. The idea is that we were told, Provost Levitt and President Clancy told us that we were in very dire circumstances. We were in a very serious emergency. We needed to have something put together by August of this last year. Is that correct? In August of 2018?
I'm not sure if that's exactly.
Forgive me. That's what she told us.
I mean, so like that's
what she told us.
more
So
or
I
less,
understand.
yeah.
So she said she needed to put a committee together by she needed to get something together probably by the end of the last school year into this last school year. The issue that we have is why choose this specific model? And when I asked her why this model,
I can tell you why.
Well, no, she answered, and I have it recorded as to what her answer was. She said that there were 12 people. She said 12 people is the ideal number of people because if it's too large, nothing will possibly get done.
Oh yeah.
That was her exact quote. That to me sounds
I mean,
like.
the reason that we
Can I
picked
explain this?
the
Excuse me.
reason we picked this model is because we proposed it.
And that feeds into the larger problem again. If it's an emergency, if it's a dire situation, sometimes we take different tacks and circumstances in order to elect these people and choose these people, right? So we might not use the faculty senate for an example in a situation as dire as this because it's the survival of the university.
We didn't use the faculty senate to select the people who were in.
No, you did not. But the model, right? You said that the faculty.
So what would the alternative model be?
The model would have been and this is actually gets at the whole point, right? Our model is that the faculty each would have had a representative on a committee and a body that they would have elected themselves directly, and then they would have represented within that body. And when I spoke with that to Provost Levitt, to be honest with you, she didn't quite have an answer as to why that in particular. Her answer to that was that it might not be decisive enough come time. And the only issue I have with that is that that's a very, very low opinion of what faculty can do, especially in an emergency. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say to you right now is, and this is what I explained to Provost Levitt and President Clancy, and they understood this, is that this is our primary point of contention.
So is your concern for other students or is it for the faculty?
It's for other students, absolutely.
Okay, so you're not concerned about the lack of faculty representation?
I am, but I think, why can't
both,
it be
right?
Time out.
So like we can have both.
You guys said that you're not directly affected by these cuts.
No.
And some of you are, and some of you aren't. And I agree, I'm just asking, right? Is your concern with the lack of, with the procedural, the procedure by which this process was affected, is your concern with the lack of faculty involvement in the, hold on, in the selection, in the creation of the model? Is it with the lack of faculty involvement on the committee itself? Is it
No, 'cause there's faculty
with the,
technically on
hold
it,
on,
but-
is it with the outcome, right? What's your concern?
I feel like we can have concern in multiple areas, like we
So
don't have to
if
single
the
out, like
outcome,
I can be
hold on,
concerned about the
if the
model,
outcome
but also the
were,
outcome.
if the outcome were we preserve and reinvest in all programs, would this be a problem? Would the lack of democratic sort of legitimacy?
No,
be a
I still would
problem?
have a problem with the democratic
I-
legitimacy in
yes.
place. The process is still about this idea of the administrative university, the corporatization of the university. That's what we have problems with.
The public outrage would not be there, but like the actual like concerns would still exist and the structural problems would not go away
The fact is
if you did
though,
that.
those outcomes aren't what you came up with. The departments facing the biggest cuts were not represented on your committee at all. And I know for a fact some professors from those departments interviewed for positions on the committee.
Which departments are you talking about?
For example, theater, philosophy, religion.
Philosophy,
humanities, music.
nobody interviewed. Religion,
You
nobody
can say
interviewed.
that.
This is your new
Theater,
question.
one
My
person.
theater department.
I'd say the department that got cut the most was finance. And like,
The
there
law
were,
school did face a lot of horrible cuts, but you haven't answered why the departments facing the largest cuts, theater, philosophy, religion, music, were not represented at all on your committee.
well, you know, it's hard to represent people.
First off, I think representation,
Theater did, I know for a fact.
Right, okay, that's one department, right? I think it's really not, I really don't wanna talk about like specific.